Stephen Covey once said, "Everything happens twice, first in your imagination and then in reality." I've always loved that quote, mostly because my imagination is a very busy place. Some ideas in there are great. Some of them should never ever be allowed near other people. But between imagination and reality, there's this strange little space, a place where ideas live for a while. Some grow strong, some fade out, and some turn into weeds. That space, that's a garden. And over time, I've realized something about myself. I'm an idea gardener. My job isn't to have the best ideas in the room. My job is to step into that garden with people, to help pull the weeds, clear the soil, and nurture the ideas that deserve to grow. That's what facilitation is to me. Not leading from the front, but tending from the side. One of the first places this shows up is when teams are trying to work differently, but they're still standing on old assumptions. In this case, I worked with agile teams who wanted clarity, but their job titles didn't match their responsibilities. And when people don't know who owns what, confusion grows fast. So instead of prescribing answers, I designed a session where the teams slowed down and looked honestly at the ground beneath their feet. Using simple, inclusive structures, everyone had a voice. No lectures, no labels, just shared understanding. By the end, they didn't just have clearer roles, they had clarity they trusted because they created it. That's what preparing the soil looks like. Once the soil is healthy, growth accelerates, and that's where a different problem often shows up. In another case, I facilitated a department-wide planning event where teams were doing good work but constantly tripping over one another. Dependencies were tangled, invisible, and expensive. So we brought everyone together, sticky notes across a giant timeline, yarn connecting work from team to team. At first it looked chaotic, but then suddenly it didn't. People could finally see where work was getting tangled and where it needed support. We didn't control the growth, we built a structure that let it grow upward instead of sideways. Alignment improved, decisions got clearer, and the work finally had room to climb. But structure alone isn't enough. In another case, I worked with a newly formed PMO. Talented people, strong opinions, and absolutely no shared direction, which is a little like planting seeds without agreeing what kind of garden you're trying to grow. So we created space for real conversation. Honest questions surfaced, leadership spoke openly, and together the group decided what mattered most. The result wasn't a document, it was ownership. We didn't impose a vision. We planted one, together. Not all growth happens in conference rooms. In one of the cases, I designed and facilitated a 5-week small group experience that was intentionally less scripted and more human. Each week became kind of a greenhouse, warm, safe, and relational. People shared stories. They listened deeply. They noticed what was already growing in them. Nothing was forced. The environment did the work. And growth happened quietly, naturally, and powerfully. And finally, there's the case that ties all of this together. As a regional lead for the Facilitation Lab, I help generate a recurring space where facilitators can actually practice their craft. Because facilitation is hard to rehearse alone. Trust me, people have tried. So we built a community where practitioners can experiment, get feedback, and learn from one another. A common garden. Ideas get planted. Some flourish. Some get composted lovingly. But everyone grows. When I look across these cases, one thing stays consistent. Ideas don't grow on their own. People grow them. Communities grow them. And facilitators tend the space where growth becomes possible. Stephen Covey said everything happens twice, first in the imagination, then in reality. My work lives in between those moments. I'm an idea gardener. I make ideas grow. And honestly, I think I'm just getting started. My name is Thom Brackett. I'm an agile coach, a facilitator, and someone who genuinely loves helping people think together. Over the years, I've had the chance to work across teams, organizations, and even outside the corporate world. And no matter what the setting, I keep seeing the same pattern. When the environment is right, ideas grow.